Hey gardeners, Amy here. Welcome to my garden. Today I want to talk about this fun native shrub right here. This is called golden currant or Ribes aureum. However, you can also pronounce it Rebes or Ribes. I'm actually going to go with Ribes because that comes more natural to me. But there you go. There's 3 pronunciations and they're all correct. Ribes aureum also has several common names. Golden currant, which is what I will be referring to it as. Clove currant, prunterberry, buffalo currant, fragrant golden currant, golden flowering currant, wild currant, clove bush, and there are similar species with spiny stems that are often called gooseberries. It's in the family Grossulariaceae, which is the currant family. The plant is a medium-sized deciduous shrub that can grow up to 6.5 to 10 feet tall and wide. The leaves are about a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch long, green, semi-leathery with 3 or 5 lobes, and they turn red in autumn. The fall coloring on this plant is absolutely stunning. I love the color in the fall. That by itself is enough of a reason to plant this. It can spread by suckers though, so you'll want to keep that in mind. If it starts to spread beyond where you want it to be growing in your garden, you can simply prune off the suckers, just like any suckering tree or shrub, but you'll want to keep up on it so it doesn't get out of control. I've had this in my garden for I think 3 years now, and this is as much as it's spread, so it doesn't seem to be too crazy as far as suckering plants go. This specimen is growing in like the back 40 of my backyard, way in a back corner where I honestly even forget that it's here. I came to film this and had to like prune back the grapes that were overcoming it. So it gets a lot of shade actually. In the morning, it's shaded behind my pine tree and my Oregon grape. In the afternoon, it's shaded by my neighbor's pine tree and then my neighbor's fir tree and then other trees. Like it's pretty much in shade most of the day. And it's really happy here. Not to mention the fact that it was completely overcome with grape, it wasn't getting any sun at all. So I'm surprised it's still okay, but here it is, and it's beautiful. It's a dark green as opposed to a lighter green and a red, and it's got lots of berries on it. So when I'm done filming, I'm going to harvest this and put it on my breakfast cereal. It blooms in the spring, usually from late March to early April, and it can actually be one of those symbols of spring having arrived. In my yard, this starts producing berries around the beginning of June. These are so good. They're a little bit tart, not quite bitter, but they're almost citrusy in flavor. They're absolutely delicious. From an early age, these shrubs produce their berries. The berries are about 1 centimeter at their largest. Mine are much smaller than that this year. It has racemes of conspicuous golden yellow flowers, often with a pronounced spicy fragrance similar to that of cloves or vanilla. The flowers may also be shades of cream to reddish, and they are borne in clusters of up to 18. The ripe fruits are all the way from yellow and amber orange to black. USDA Zone 5 through 8, it's native to the western half of the United States and Canada, but it has escaped cultivation and naturalized in the eastern half of the US, as well as in western and central Europe. It prefers part sun or filtered sun and a little bit of water. So in Spokane, you should water it every couple of weeks, but this one in my yard is in full blistering sun and gets watered every few weeks, whatever. It's doing fine. The berries are a little bit smaller though. I think that's what's happening there. And the leaves are already turning red. This is how too much sun shows up on this plant. So if your plant is in full sun and the leaves are turning red in June, it's because it doesn't like having that much sun, but the plant is usually okay. This one is growing on the other side of my property, on the north side of my big maple tree. So it gets like part sun, a little bit of shade during the heat of the day, and you'll notice that the leaves on this are still completely green. There's no discoloration and no red here. That's because it gets some filtered sun, a little bit of shade during the heat, and it actually prefers that. It can be found around gravel banks, plains, and around flowing water. It's excellent for erosion control, keeping hillsides together, and it grows just about everywhere you would want to plant it. Golden currant is generally not widely abundant, but it occurs as scattered plants, patches, and clumps in corridors along waterways and fence rows. It normally grows in fertile, well-drained sites such as moist stream banks, washes, ditches, seeps, and springs. While considered a species of moist sites, golden currant is also found on well-drained soils that only receive 16 inches of precipitation annually. Plants generally grow in full sun to part shade on soils ranging from slightly acidic to slightly base. Golden currant is moderately fire tolerant and recovers by resprouting or natural seeding. The shrub is really low care. Really, the only thing you need to worry about is pruning the suckers if you don't want it to spread, once it gets to the size you want. You can also prune down the end of the branches if they get a little bit too long. The best time to prune is right after flowering. The golden currant is a widespread species that is the alternate host for the pine blister rust fungus, a fungus which attacks and kills pines. So it is sometimes eradicated from forested areas where the fungus is active to prevent its spread. In many areas, it is unlawful to plant certain types of ribes where white pines are harvested for timber. Pollinators of this plant include hummingbirds, butterflies, and bees. The fruit is eaten by various birds and mammals, and the plant is grazed by lots of herbivorous species like deer, etc. So it's very useful in your garden if you're wanting to support pollinators, birds, and other animals. Other uses include eating the berries. The berries are edible, and Native Americans have used the berries for food and medicine for centuries. So for design purposes, I like to go into what is pretty at the same time as the plant I'm talking about. So this was blooming in early spring, kind of the same as like tulips and daffodils, and a little bit after crocuses, and hyacinths, I believe, were blooming at the same time as well. But in this case, what I'm really after is the berries. The berries ripened early to mid-June, which I had this huge abundance of stuff happening in my garden at that time. So let me see if I can remember all of it. We had blue star Amsonia, scarlet gilia, baptista, 2 types of primrose, several types of penstemons. Now we have the spring blooming aster, rhododendrons, and irises, daylilies, rudbeckia, echinacea, lavender, swamp milkweed, and several types of lilies, all blooming at the same time as this has its beautiful golden berries on it. So take that information and go design your garden and make it absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it and you learned something new, make sure to tell me by hitting the like button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe so you get more gardening content like this in your video feed every week. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the garden.